Hello everyone, welcome to Arka Science, and today in this video I will be discussing the monthly horoscope for the month of April 2022. This month is the most eventful and the most awaited month in 2022 because all the planets are going to make planetary transits in this month. They are going to change the sign. Now see, moon is the fastest. Moon changes the sign in every 2.5 days. But what about the other 8 planets? Yes, those 8 planets are also going to change the sign. When we talk about Vedic astrology, basically it's about the Navagrahas, means 9 grahas, which we call 9 planets. Now, all of them, they are going to change the sign. So that means a new kind of energy, a new kind of planetary shifts are going to happen, and which will definitely have their impact on the mankind. No matter which dasas you are going on, no matter where are your planets are placed in your horoscope, but these transits of all the 9 planets are going to impact us in one way or the other. It is my responsibility to make you remember back in 2020, similar kind of situation happened when all the planets changed their sign. Maybe not in 1 month, but it happened consecutively, means in 1 month or the other. But in 2022, it is happening in one single month. We all know back in 2020 when all the planets changed their sign, be it Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Venus, Mercury, whatsoever it is, okay, they had their impact, and from last 2 years we have been feeling this energy, correct? Every one of us. This year, in the month of April, all those 9 planets are going to change their sign in 1 month itself. It is just like that a show has started, and suddenly you come to know that another show has started. It is just like that. So you will not get a moment of relief. New things will start in our life, or you can say it is the time which will play a main anchor role for next months, years to come. If you take it in this way, 2 years from now, what are the things which we want to achieve, or which we want to get in our life or get success over? Those things will be decided in this particular month, because now the dasas which we are going through and the transits which are going to happen together, they will give us the result, and it will continue to give it. For the next 2 years, you will feel that yes, the energies are quite similar to the energies which happened in April 2022. Means from 2 years from now, you will feel like that. So this particular month is going to be very eventful, and I will be discussing the possible impacts of this transit and the necessary guidelines which we must adhere to and we must understand regarding the planetary energies. So stay till the end of the video for all the ascendant signs. I will be making the content in this particular video, so as you stay you will understand, and definitely it will have a different kind of impact for every one of us depending upon the dasas. Every one of us might be going through some Mahadasa or Antardasa or even Pratyantar Dasa. So definitely they will have a different impact, plus the energy of the transits. Because in the transit also the planet aspects the houses, correct? It may happen a transiting planet can be transiting over your natal planet, or in the transit they might be aspecting a particular house where your natal planets are sitting. So it is not about one particular planet which is getting transited, it is about the 9 planets which is going to transiting in this particular month. So you will feel that the total scenario is changing day by day. A start of a new story. Many of us might be already feeling it. So I will start it, and yes, anytime if you want a consultation from me for your horoscope, that how these transits are going to impact you for next few months or years to come, then definitely check the links in the description section. You can mail me through my email ID, or you can directly connect with me through the Facebook and Instagram accounts. So now let us talk about the planetary transits which are going to happen in this month, April 2022. Starting with Sun. At present, Sun is in the sign of Pisces, but on 14th of April 2022, Sun will enter the sign of Aries and get exalted. If we talk about Moon, then 1st of April itself, it is the new moon or the Amavasya Tithi, and on 16th of April, we will observe the Purnima Tithi or the full moon. If we talk about Mars, then at present Mars is in its exalted sign Capricorn, getting conjunct with Saturn, but on 7th of April Mars will leave Capricorn and it will enter the sign of Aquarius. If we talk about Mercury, then at present Mercury is in its debilitated sign, that is Pisces, but on 8th of April Mercury will leave Pisces and it will enter the sign of Aries. And for Mercury, on 25th of April, Mercury will also leave Aries and it will enter the sign of Taurus. Let us talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is at present in the sign of Aquarius, but on 13th of April, Jupiter will enter the sign of Pisces. It's a very dignified and very welcome transit for Jupiter, especially from last 2 years when it was in the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn. But now, after all, from all those years and months, okay, now Jupiter is finally coming back to the sign of Pisces, its own sign, its own house. So it will be a very good transit for Jupiter, a very welcome transit for every one of us. If we talk about Venus, then on 31st of March itself, Venus has entered the sign of Aquarius. So that means the moment when the month of April starts, Venus will be in the sign of Aquarius, and on 27th of April, Venus will leave Aquarius and it will get entered into the sign of Pisces and get exalted. So that means from 27th of April onwards, the sign of Pisces will be very dignified and very energetic, because it will have the benefic influence of Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter is its own lord and Venus will be exalted in the sign of Pisces. So it's just like that, two benefic powerful planets will be in the sign of Pisces. It's a good thing for all the Pisces natives, and wheresoever the sign Pisces lies in your horoscope, you will find good results out of it. Okay, now let us talk about Saturn. At present, Saturn is in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is lorded over by Saturn itself, but on 29th of April, Saturn will leave Capricorn and it will enter the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the Mula Trikona sign for Saturn. It is also lorded over by Saturn, but Saturn feels more good to be in Aquarius rather than in Capricorn, because it is the Mula Trikona sign. So Saturn becomes more powerful in the sign of Aquarius. Okay. Now, when we are talking about all the grahas and all the planets, what about Rahu and Ketu? Yes, Rahu and Ketu are also changing the sign in this month of April 2022. On 12th of April, Rahu is going to enter the sign of Aries in retrograde motion, whereas Ketu is going to enter the sign of Libra in the retrograde motion on 12th of April 2022. So this is about all the planetary transits which are going to happen in this particular month. And as usual, if you are new to this channel, then tap onto the subscribe button, click onto the notification bell icon, so that every time I make a new video, you get notified instantly. So now, without wasting a single moment, we will go to all the 12 ascendants and how these particular transits and this month of April is going to be for every one of us. So, and yes, one final thing which I will definitely say, since it is about the transit of all the planets, definitely it will have an impact physically, which is happening in front of us in the reality, and it will have some emotional impact in our thought process also, in our mind also. So definitely I will ask you that you can check this video from your ascendant sign and from your moon sign also. Like suppose if you are an Aries ascendant, then check the Aries part. And if suppose you are having moon in the sign of Pisces, that means you are Pisces moon, then check the Pisces part also of this particular video, because definitely these transits will bring some physical manifestation in real life, and it will have some emotional changes, or how we are taking it, how the energies are felt by us, that will be understood through the moon sign. So definitely go through the particular sign where your moon is also placed, so that you can understand that how emotional changes are brought about to us by these planetary shifts. So now we will go for all the 12 signs. Come. For the Aries ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Mars will be transiting in the 10th house along with the 10th Lord Saturn, and Mars is at present in its exaltation sign Capricorn in the 10th house. So, therefore, it is making you very authoritative, giving you the proper energy to work, to take any project in a very positive mindset, giving you that independent stature at your workplace. Most importantly, it is making you very powerful at your workplace. On the other hand, presence of two natural malefic planets present in your 10th house of work and profession, it can also denote that a difference of opinion can happen with your co-workers, with your superiors, or with your authorities, colleagues, etc. You have to be very careful regarding that. On 7th of April, Mars will change the sign. Mars will come into the sign of Aquarius and get conjunct with two natural benefic planets, that is Jupiter and Venus. Mars is the first lord. That means Mars will denote your personality, your health, your general wisdom, your fame, your name. Okay. Most importantly, how people look at you. That is the first house and first lord. Okay. So, most importantly, presence of two natural benefic planets in the 11th house of gains getting conjunct with the first lord Mars, it is not only good for your personality but also good for your health. It will bring new success, new awards, rewards, promotion at your workplace, or you will be recognized for your work by your authorities. This is also good for any kind of incoming of wealth or gains, or it can also denote that multiple field of work will be open for you. You can take it in this way that different work sectors can come in front of you, where you can see that yes, I can have income from this particular fields, so you can work upon it. So you can basically work on multiple fields at the same time. You can get that kind of opportunities during this transit of Mars, Jupiter and Venus in your 11th house. So, and why it is more important, because Jupiter is your ninth lord of luck, fortune, and prosperity. So that means your luck will support you in whatever work you do. And Venus is your seventh lord. So when we talk about the seventh house also deals with mass fame. So it will be good for your fame, name, and any kind of recognition. Jupiter, Venus, and Mars will all look into your fifth house altogether. So it is a very good time to acquire new knowledge, to improve your skill sets, to improve your intelligence and work according to it. It will also make you very famous and very. You can take it in this way that you will be recognized among your network circle. You will get good projects and work through it and get success through it. Okay. So overall, this particular transit of Jupiter, Venus and Mars through your 11th house will be a good one. Now you have to take into account two things with this. On 1st of April, we have the new moon, and moon is your fourth lord of happiness, peace of mind. So, since 1st April is the Amavasya Tithi, it means that it will directly impact your peace of mind. So, this particular month, you have to work upon building up your family happiness, building upon your domestic peace of mind, your mental security, mental peace. This is the first thing which you have to work upon amongst all these things. And it is during this time when Ketu will be transiting through your 7th house. Ketu will enter your 7th house on 12th of April, and 7th house is for marriage, your partnership, your legal bindings. And where is your 7th lord? Venus will be getting conjunct with Mars. So definitely you may get obsessed regarding your personality, regarding your health, or regarding your own self, because Rahu will also be transiting through your first house. So apart from getting name, fame and recognition, you have to also bring a balance with your work life, with your personal life, with your married life also. Bring a balance between you and your partner. That is the most important thing, because that is what Ketu is going to teach you during this particular transit. Otherwise there can be some kinds of arguments or some kind of unnecessary disputes. So in order to avoid them, you can work through it in this way. If we talk about the transit of Jupiter, yes, definitely when Jupiter goes into the sign of Pisces, it is a very welcome transit for it, and that time this Jupiter will directly aspect your fourth house of happiness. So that time you can see that yes, the happiness index is rising and you are getting that mental security, you are working for it. But you have to bring the balance between your work life and your domestic and married life also. That is the most important thing, because as of now Saturn is aspecting your seventh house by its 10th aspect. So karma, which is followed by Saturn, is that bring the balance at your married life, relationship, or your between you and your partners. On 29th of April, when Saturn goes into the sign of Aquarius, so that time it will make you more work oriented, do something for the society, and it will definitely give you gains also, because it will make you work for the stabilized gains, that you can work for something where you are getting the gains for the longer amount of time. Yes, that time you may feel that I'm working for something where I can get the gains a bit late, but it will be followed for many days to come, many months to come, or years to come. Okay, you can take it in this way. At present, Sun and Mercury is also transiting through your 12th house. So definitely you can take it. This is as an spiritual transit, because it can make you learn new things. You can work upon those spiritual things and learn about it. On 14th of April, when Sun comes to your first house, and on 8th of April, when Mercury comes out of debilitation, it will be both on your first house. So that time it will give you extraordinary confidence, because after 12th of April, it is about the conjunction of Rahu, Sun, and Mercury on your first house. So it will give you extraordinary intelligence and confidence. Now how you are using it, that is completely upon up to you, because it will give you the energy, it will give you the necessary strength to take the proper decisions in your life. Definitely the aspect of Sun will be falling on your 7th house of marriage. So there can be some classes, ego classes between you and your partner, but you have to work on it very tactfully, and then only you can feel that yes, things are going in your favor. So that's it for the Aries ascendant people. For the Taurus ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Venus will be transiting in the 10th house along with Jupiter as of now. Now, see, it is a brilliant combination, I will say, because the Lagna Lord is getting conjunct with a super benefic planet Jupiter. Jupiter is also your 11th Lord, getting conjunct with Lagna Lord in the 10th house of career and profession. So, it is giving you that enough energy, power, and authority, and presence of two supernatural benefic planets in the 10th house is not only giving you a good name, fame, and reputation at your workplace, but also giving you the humbleness and proper wisdom to do the work on time and produce all the projects on time with success. Now, take it in this way: Jupiter is your eighth lord also, so it can happen apart from working in this particular, in whatever work you are doing, you can get some other opportunities also, where you may feel that yes, I can avail that opportunity of my work and profession. You can take it in this way. This kind of opportunities can come, because eighth house lord brings ups and downs, so it can give you some sudden opportunities during this particular transit. Looking into the fact that at present Saturn and Mars is also transiting through your ninth house. Now it is creating a Raj Yoga, so definitely it will bring you some good opportunities in your life. Since Mars is your seventh lord, transiting through the ninth house, along with the ninth lord getting exalted, so it is also giving you name, fame, and new wisdom to learn new things, and definitely it will bring good prosperity in your life. But yes, presence of two malefic planets in the ninth house can also make you feel that you can be a bit adamant regarding your religious views, or regarding your religious ideas, or your higher belief system. That can also happen, so you have to work upon that thing also. On 7th of April, when Mars comes out of Capricorn, it will be in the 10th house in the sign of Aquarius. So that is the time when you have to be a bit careful, because it will be conjunct with the Lagna Lord, and Aquarius is a Aries sign. So there can be some kind of difference of opinion with your bosses, with your authorities, or even co-workers. There can be some kind of arguments or disputes, because Aquarius is not a friendly sign for Mars. Basically, it's a inimical sign, and it's a airy sign, and Mars is that fiery energy. So it is just like that something happens, and you talk about it, and it gets like to any kind of disruption or dispute, argument, something like that. So you have to be very careful regarding that also. Otherwise, I will say that on 13th of April, when Jupiter goes to the 11th house in the sign of Pisces, it will be in its own house, and it is the house of gains. So suddenly you can find new opportunities at your career, new opportunities to get something more gains. Now it can be incoming of wealth, incoming of any kind of new opportunities in your life. It can happen in this way, because Venus and Mars both will be conjunct in the 10th house. So it is just like that you are getting new name, fame, opportunities. Now, since Mars is your seventh lord getting conjunct with the first lord, Venus, so you have to be very careful regarding your relationship with your spouse and partner also. There can be some kind of arguments, there can be some kind of difference of opinion or clashes between you and your partner during this time, because after all, Aquarius is Aries sign, so you have to be very careful regarding that. If we talk about the transit of Rahu and Ketu, then on 12th of April, Rahu and Ketu, they both are changing the sign. Rahu enters the sign of Aries, and Ketu enters the sign of Libra. If we talk about the dispositor of Libra, that is Venus. So Libra is your sixth house basically. So your hard work will be determined by the sixth house energy, and Ketu comes over here. So you will be focusing more on innovative approach, or you can work on the things where you can feel um, what are the other ways by which you can improve your hard work. So this kind of mentality can come within you. So initially this can also make you feel lazy, that whatever work you are doing, that may not be correct. So you can take some time, and you can work on it within your mind, and bring the most of out of it. So this kind of feelings can come within you due to the transit of Ketu in your sixth house. The transit of Ketu in your sixth house can also mean that you have to take care of your health also, because certain kinds of health issues can suddenly come in front of you, where you have to where you may feel that I was not expecting this thing, but it has already happened. Now, if you talk about the transit of Rahu, it will be transiting through your 12th house in the sign of Aries on 12th of April onwards. So it can make you very obsessed towards the spiritual ideas or regarding faraway lands or any kind of foreign culture. But since Rahu is also illusion, so you have to be very careful regarding which things you are choosing. Either those things are correct, yes or no. Dispositor of Rahu will be then Mars, because Aries is lorded over by Mars, and that time Mars will be transiting in your 10th house. So definitely you can get some good opportunity from faraway lands also. It can be any kind of multinational company or any kind of company at some faraway places. So this kind of career opportunities can be seen during this particular time. If we talk about the sun, Mercury and moon, then this has a direct link with Ketu. Why I'm saying you, because moon is your third lord, and at present on 1st of April there is the new moon occurring. So that means wheresoever you are putting your efforts, there is a sense of confusion, or it is not clear that where you are putting the efforts or actions, is it correct or not. This kind of confusion can be going on in your mind at this moment of time. And when we talk about the hard work, that comes from the sixth house where Ketu will be transiting. So definitely it is indicating the fact that you will be working through your mentality of efforts, actions, and where to put your hard work, or definitely do the smart work or not. Because this is what the transit of moon, that is the new moon, and the transit of Ketu is explaining during this time. Very soon, when 8th of April comes, Mercury will come out of debilitation and it will enter the sign of Aries in the 12th house. And on 14th of April, Sun will also get exalted in the sign of Aries. So it will be all about Rahu, Sun, and Mercury in your 12th house. So definitely, it's a good time to learn spiritual ideas. It can make you feel that you can go to solitude, take some isolated place, and learn about spirituality, some foreign culture. You can also feel that you can travel to some faraway places in the search of spiritual way of life. This is also a possibility where you can take it in this way. Or since the dispositor of Rahu, that is Mars, will be transiting through the 10th house, it can also happen that you can get opportunity to work for some uh, multinational company or some faraway place at some company, and you can get name, fame, and reputation over there. This kind of things can also be possible. Now, let us talk about Saturn also on 29th of April, when Saturn comes out of Capricorn and it enters the sign of Aquarius. This can bring initial stability at your work. So you can feel that work pressure is increasing, new responsibilities are coming within in your area, and you have to work more, and definitely with time it will give you stability. So when responsibilities comes for you, it means people expects that you are the best to do it. So that is the reason responsibilities comes for you. So if you follow it, it will give you name, fame, and reputation. So that is what this transit of Saturn in your 10th house will be giving you. Okay, so that's it for the Taurus ascendant people. For the Gemini ascendant people, at present the Lagna Lord Mercury is transiting through the 10th house, but it is getting debilitated, although it is getting conjunct with Sun. Looking into the fact, on 1st of April we have the new moon, that is the Amavasya Tithi. So that means the strength of moon will be very less during the initial days of the month of April. So here moon is also your second lord, so there will also be some kind of issues or any kind of thinking or thought process related to your family, your financial growth, your speech. So during this particular time, any kind of financial decisions which you are taking has to be taken very carefully, or any kind of matter related to family members or anything which you value or whatever you speak has to be taken care of, because Mercury, the significator of speech, finance, wealth, is getting debilitated over here in the 10th house. So whatever work you do, whatever documentation work, or it can be management work, or when you are dealing with your clients, has to be done very carefully during this particular time when Mercury is getting debilitated. Looking into the fact that the strength of moon for the initial few days will be a bit less, As the time goes on, it will the strength of moon will increase, and you can feel that your mind is working with proper energy and proper wisdom. Okay, you can take it in this way. Now, on 8th of April and on 14th of April, Mercury and Sun is will be leaving the sign of Pisces respectively, and it will enter the sign of Aries. And interestingly, on 12th of April, Rahu will also transit through the sign of Aries in your 11th house. So it is basically Rahu, Sun, and Mercury in your 11th house. So it will give you extraordinary confidence regarding your speech and communication. So suppose if you are associated with communication sector or wherever you need to speak, okay, so those are the areas where you can get more name, fame, and reputation. It will also increase your network circle, where you can get new projects and work for it and get new gains out of this transit of Rahu, Sun, and Mercury. Most essentially, Sun will be exalted, so definitely it will be good for your health and vitality also, because Sun is the significator of health, vitality, our soul, which is getting exalted along with the Lagna Lord Mercury in the 11th house of gains. So it is good for your personality and health also, and definitely it is good for your incoming of wealth through your ability to speak your and communicate any kind of work regarding this. It can be writing, publishing, reading. Even if you are a student, it will be good for your education, because the Sun and Mercury will directly looking into your fifth house of intelligence. It can be taken in this way that during this time when Rahu comes to Aries, Ketu will be transiting through your fifth house of Libra. So it means it will give you a thought process where you can learn new things. Means you may feel that whatever the set of intelligence which you have, you will feel that I need to work upon more things. Maybe this is not the much optimum which actually I wanted. I need something more. So more research work can be done during this particular time. So you can work upon those things and learn new things, and definitely it will work for you in the coming days to come. So definitely, if we talk about Ketu, then it will be transiting through your fifth house, and during this time, that dispositor of Ketu will be Venus, and Venus will be transiting in the ninth house. So if when you work for your creative skills, when you work for your intelligence, this can definitely take you to some higher knowledge, to higher spiritual knowledge. This Venus and Jupiter will be conjunct in your ninth house, so definitely two presence of two benefic planets in the ninth house of Dharma. It's a good thing, I will say, because it is not only giving you name, fame, prosperity, luck, fortune, but also giving you the proper time and space to learn new things, religious ideas, customs, rituals, follow the righteousness, follow the dharma. These are the things which will be very essential during this time, because Jupiter is also your seventh lord, getting conjunct with the significator of seventh house, that is Venus. So it is also good for your married life also, I will say. It will bring happiness between you and your spouse. It will bring cordial relationship between you and your spouse. Take it in this way. Now, since Jupiter and Venus are different ideologies, so yes, some kind of difference in opinions can be there at times, but overall, this transit of Jupiter and Venus in the ninth house will be a good one for you, because it will not only be good for you but also make you learn new things from your elders, from your father, from your guru. Okay. Travels can be there, long distance travels, religious discourses can be there. You can go to some other places for the search of knowledge, and you can get meet your guru, or you can meet some people of spiritual communities. It will be good overall, I will say. This transit is a good one. If we talk about Saturn and Mars, then Saturn and Mars is transiting at present in your eighth house. So definitely it is a spiritual combination transiting through the eighth house. It is helping you to learn new spiritual ideas, but presence of malefics in your eighth house, you have to take care regarding your health also. This is what this particular transit is asking for from you, to take care more of your health. But on 7th of April, Mars will come into your ninth house. So that is the time when, means on 7th of April, when Mars comes to the sign of Aquarius, that is the time it will be getting conjunct with Venus. So here there can be some classes with your seniors also, with your elders also, with your elder of your family during this time. But yes, the when we talk about the benefic aspect of this transit is that you can have the sudden energy to learn new knowledge, or you can feel that this is not the end, there is more to it. So you will get more energy to learn and learn and learn and work for your creative skill set. That is what Ketu in the fifth house will denote, because you work for it, and your dispositor of Ketu, Venus, will be transiting in the ninth house of higher spiritual knowledge. Okay, you can take it in this way. When we talk about Jupiter, on 13th of April, Jupiter comes to your 10th house of career and profession. So, definitely, it will increase your name, your prosperity at your workplace. So, you can get new opportunities, new responsibilities, new projects, new promotion, or new any kind of opportunity which can lead to higher ranks in your workplace. So you can feel a stable career and profession during this particular transit of Jupiter in your 10th house, looking into the fact that Rahu will be transiting in your 11th house along with exalted Sun and Mercury. So through your wisdom, through your intelligence, you can get more things and learn about it and work for it, because this Jupiter transit will be not only good for your work and profession, good for your domestic peace and domestic happiness, because Jupiter will directly look into your fourth house. It will look into your second house of wealth also. So initially when Moon was transiting in the 10th house along with Sun, when the new moon was happening in the 1st of April, so initially that was the problem. But eventually, when Jupiter comes to your 10th house, it will look directly into your second house of wealth, finance, and speech. So, it will take care of it, and definitely with time, you will feel that yes, things are going on your way. So, this is what the transit of Jupiter will happen. On 29th of April, when Saturn comes to your ninth house, it will give you a steady nature to learn about spirituality, learn about religious ideas, customs, and rituals. It will ask you to be more disciplined towards your dharma. It will ask you to become more disciplined towards your elder, to respect your elders, to follow the righteous path. This is what this Saturn will teach you in the in its transit in the sign of Aquarius. So you have to take it in this positive way. So that's it for the Gemini ascendant people. For the Cancer ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Moon will be in transit in the ninth house. But yes, on 1st of April, there is the new moon happening. So, definitely, there will be some issues regarding your own personality, your health, and definitely health of your father and elders at your family. This is the first thing which you must take care during this particular month, because the 1st of April, when the new moon happens, that is the Amavasya Tithi is happening, and which is actually indicating that you must take care regarding your health and personality, and regarding the health of your elders, your father in your family. This is the most important thing we have to take care. Now when we are looking into this thing, Mercury, which is your 12th and 3rd lord, is also getting debilitated and getting conjunct with Sun in the ninth house. Here, you have to be very careful regarding your speech, your hobbies, your communication regarding anything related to religious or religious culture. This is the most important part, because in the time when moon is weak, that is the new moon, and those energies will be going on, it is very likely that when we talk about something and we say something which is not meant to be said. Okay, so these are the things which need to be careful for the initial 1 week or so. For the Cancer ascendant people, this is the most important thing. But on 8th of April and on 14th of April, Mercury and Sun respectively will be transiting your 10th house of career, and Sun will become exalted. So that is the time when you can use your vitality, energy, and your intelligence, the power of working through um, your management power, or your means any kind of strength of working through your colleagues or co-workers, or dealing with your authorities or superiors in a very good manner. This kind of energy, or this kind of authority or power will come within you. You will feel that yes, I can work on multiple projects at the same time, and with authority. People will listen to you for your charisma, because this is what the exalted sun in the 10th house can give you, because it is not only becoming that getting that directional strength, but also it is getting exalted. So definitely this is a very good time when you can talk with your superiors, with your authorities regarding any kind of matter regarding your career and profession. But also there is a chance that you can get some high rank, or some authoritative position, or new kind of responsibility, where you can take decisions during this particular time. Definitely it will be it can vary depending upon the dasas, but these are the things which you can get at your workplace or work sector. When we talk about the transit of Rahu, it is during this time only when 12th of April Rahu comes to your 10th house. So definitely this combination of Rahu, Sun and Mercury at your 10th house can give you that extraordinary power and strength. This presence of Rahu in your 10th house, only one thing you have to be very careful, that if you can be less manipulative and more hardworking, that can give you more better results. Because here Rahu can make you feel that you can do some elusive work, or you can manipulate something to get the results out of nothing. Okay, here Rahu can make you feel like that, but I will say that hard work and doing the work with proper dharma and righteousness is more important than getting the things done uh, out of nothing. And because that will be giving you short term successes, but for the long term things you have to be working in a proper manner. Yes, you can use the energy of Rahu in this way, that you can be very innovative in your work. You can try to do the projects or any kind of work out of your own intelligence and for your betterment. In that way you can take the energy of Rahu in this way, that will be more good for you. The dispositor of Rahu, that is Mars, during that time when Rahu comes to your 10th house, that time Mars will be in the 8th house. At present, Mars is in your 7th house, getting conjunct with Saturn. So, definitely, it is giving you name, fame, and authority, because 7th house is 10th from the 10th house. So, it is for the mass fame, for the public. Okay, it is also good for your career and your profession. But presence of Mars and Saturn, two malefic planets in your seventh house in transit, it can also lead to some kind of arguments or difference of opinion, some kind of disputes, clashes with your partner, with your spouse in your married life or relationship. Okay, this can be a possibility. On 7th of April, Mars comes to your 8th house, getting conjunct with Jupiter and Venus in the 8th house in the sign of Aquarius. Now, Mars happens to be the dispositor of Rahu when Rahu comes to your 10th house. So, that means any kind of shortcut in your work can lead to ups and downs in your career. Any kind of wrongful manipulation at your work can lead to this kind of problems. So you have to use the energy of Rahu in a better manner, in a some good manner, rather than using it in some shortcut or any kind of thing where you can feel that yes, I can do the work in anyhow I want. Don't do it anyhow you want, try to do it in proper manner. Okay, in that case you can get the better results. Why it becomes more important? Because during that time only, in the 12th, on 12th of April, Ketu comes to your 4th house. So you will be more focused towards your workplace rather than at home, rather than at your domestic happiness. Okay. And the dispositor of Ketu is Venus, which will be transiting in the 8th house along with Jupiter and Mars during that time. So that means when you are focusing more towards your career and profession, there can be some ups and downs or lack of peace or happiness at your domestic place also. So you have to strike a balance between your work sector and your domestic happiness. That is what this Ketu is trying to teach you, that maybe the things which you are doing, that is not up to the expectation mark, that is not the optimum thing. You have to work more for it, you have to gain the things for your domestic happiness, you have to work for it. So that is what this transit of Ketu and the dispositor of Ketu, Venus transiting through the 8th house, can imply. Since Mars and Venus is getting conjunct in the 8th house, so you have to have proper control over your instincts. There can be some kind of clashes between you and your partner, so you have to be very careful regarding that also. Jupiter is at present transiting in your 8th house in the sign of Aquarius, but on 13th, Jupiter comes to your 9th house in the sign of Pisces. So that is a very welcome transit for you, because it will not only bring luck, fortune, it will also increase the prosperity. Your mindset will be more towards religious ideas, customs and rituals, learning new things, philosophy, law, or any kind of religious books or scriptures. So it is a good transit, I will say. It will be, it is just like a new sunshine for you, luck, fortune, and prosperity for you. So it is a good transit, I will say. Make the best out of it, because it will be good for your health, your personality, your intelligence, your creative skill sets, your hobbies, your talent. There can be some religious discourses during this time. So make the most out of this particular transit. When we talk about Saturn, at present, Saturn is transiting through your 7th house, but on 29th of April, Saturn comes to your 8th house. So, being the 8th lord transiting through the 8th house, definitely it is bringing new chances of where you can work for your health, you can work for betterment of your health, that you can do. It can also make you feel that you can work for innovative ideas regarding your health, like yoga, exercises, spiritual way of living. And definitely this particular transit of Saturn will make you feel that yes, these are the things which I can follow in my life, and that can give me more time to spend with my own time and space. So it will help you to work on your health also. So you can take it in this way. Otherwise, Saturn is a malefic planet transiting through the 8th house. Definitely, you should follow proper ways of life. You should not get deviated from righteousness, because here Saturn will be looking directly into your second house of speech, and it will impact the 8th house also. So one thing you do wrong, and then here Saturn will be like giving you the results appropriately. Okay, so you have to be working properly with your wealth, with your speech, with your family members. These are the things which you have to be very careful during this particular time when Saturn is transiting through the 8th house. Otherwise it will be transiting in its own sign, so definitely it will give you good results. Okay, related to that sign, so there can be spiritual bent up mind during this particular time. Okay, to take it in this way. So that's it for the Cancer ascendant people. For the Leo ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Sun is at present transiting in the 8th house in the presence of debilitated Mercury, and yes, on the 1st of April we have the new moon. So definitely moon is also weak, and it is the, after all, 8th house, and Sun is the Lagna Lord and also the significator of the soul transiting through the 8th house. It is not a great position for Sun at this moment, I will say. Definitely it is teaching you some spiritual way of learning, spiritual way of living, but as per as your health and personality is concerned, I will say this is not a great position for sun, along with a debilitated planet and a weak moon. During this particular time, you have to take care regarding your health, your personality, any kind of work which can um, cause the loss of name and fame, reputation. You should not do any kind of work regarding that. Try to follow the work of dharma. Try to follow anything which is good for you, anything which is good for your family and your society. So those are the things which you need to follow during this particular time, because otherwise it can lead to some kind of loss of name, fame or reputation. Moon is your 12th lord and it is at present going through the phase of new moon. So yes, along with debilitated Mercury. So most importantly, you have to take care regarding your expenses, regarding any kind of loss, regarding any kind of thing where you are speaking about something which can lead to miscommunication. So you have to work regarding those things also. Very essential during this time. On 8th of April and 14th of April, Mercury and Sun, respectively, they will be entering your ninth house. Sun will become exalted and Mercury will come out of its stabilization. So it is a very good transit, I will say. And during that time, when 12th of April comes, Rahu comes to your ninth house. So definitely it will give you confidence to learn new things, new ideas. And this presence of Rahu in your ninth house can also make you feel more interested towards foreign culture, far away lands, or any kind of ancient scriptures of other community or other religious ideas, or it can also make you feel to learn about the occult science, religious science, or any kind of cultural ideas which can make you feel enriched. During this particular transit of Rahu, Sun, and Mercury in your 12th house, in your ninth house, it can also happen that you can go to some religious discourses to some faraway place and you can learn about new cultures, new ideas, and you can also meet people of different spiritual communities during this particular transit. And I will say during this transit of Rahu, Sun, and Mercury, you have to be more focused towards your righteousness and dharma. It is very essential because presence of Rahu and exalted Sun in the ninth house can also lead to the fact that there can be some difference of opinion with you and your father or elders. So at times you may feel that whatever your guru is saying or whatever knowledge your guru is transferring to you, you may feel away from it. You may feel something that, yeah, that I am not going with this particular knowledge. I can find something else. So this kind of feeling may come within you. So it is absolutely you have to take it in this way that what is correct and what is not, you have to judge it and then you have to work upon it. So it is very important during this particular transit of Rahu, Sun, and Mercury in your ninth house. If we talk about Mars and Saturn, they both are transiting in your sixth house. Saturn is the sixth lord, Mars is getting exalted, and definitely it is giving you extra energy to do the hard work, giving you success all around. That is the transit of Saturn and Mars in the sixth house. It is a very good transit, I will say. But yes, presence of malefic planets in the sixth house can also lead to some kind of injuries or wounds or accidents. So you have to take care regarding those things also. On 7th of April, Mars comes to your 7th house and getting conjunct with Venus and Jupiter. This conjunction of Venus and Jupiter and Mars, I will say that presence of benefic influence in the 7th house will control the energy of Mars in the 7th house. But still, I will say this Mars Venus conjunction in the 7th house can lead to some kind of arguments or disputes or any kind of disruptive energy between you and your partner or spouse or any kind of business partnership. So you have to be very wise while you are dealing with your partner or your wife or your husband, spouse, partner, okay, or in any kind of relationship you are. you have to be very careful, because there can be arguments, there can be some heated arguments, because Aquarius is a airy sign and Mars is that fire. So you have to be very careful regarding that. Although Jupiter will be there, but on 13th of April Jupiter will leave the sign of Aquarius and it will come into the sign of Pisces. So definitely you have to be very careful regarding how you are dealing with your partner. Okay. Regarding the expenditures, also be very careful, because Mars will look into the second house by its eighth aspect after it comes to the sign of Aquarius. So your speech, your expenses, spendings has to be taken care of. How you are dealing with your finance, very careful during this time. Jupiter, when it comes to the sign of Pisces, it will be good for your health, your vitality. It will be also good for your research, focus, knowledge, spiritual way of living. It will be good for your domestic happiness also, because Jupiter will directly look into your fourth house, and spiritual way of living will be good, also be good, because it will be impacting your 8th house and 12th house by its aspect on the 12th house. So this transit of Jupiter is also good for you, because after all, after each and everything, we every one of us require the peace of mind. So this Jupiter will bring that peace of mind to you. It will be good for you in that way. And when we talk about the transit of Ketu will be transiting in your third house, that is the house of efforts and actions, and definitely it will make you feel that yes, what are the things where you can work upon, and that can give you good results through your efforts and actions. So that kind of research minded thought process can go by the transit of Ketu in your third house. Yes, that can be some kind of disruptive energy between you and your immediate contact, the people of immediate contact. So due to this transit of Ketu in the third house, you may get detached, you may feel detached from your neighborhood or friends, or it can be siblings in that way. But since the dispositor of Ketu, that is Venus, will be transiting through the seventh house, you will try to maintain the relationships, but this will be in conjunction with Mars. So there can be some kind of arguments. So I will say, while you are maintaining the relationship between you and your partner, or even between you and your um, people of immediate contacts, try to avoid any kind of arguments, try to avoid any kind of disputes, try to understand the opinion of the give respect to the opinion of the other person, and then come to a conclusion. That is the most important part which you must follow for the Leo ascendant people. So that's it for the Leo people. For the Virgo ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Mercury is in conjunction with Sun and Moon in the seventh house at this moment, and Mercury is getting debilitated. So, definitely, when you're dealing with your relationships, when you're dealing with your partner, and with any kind of business contracts or business partnership, legal binding, you need to be very careful regarding those things, and also be very careful regarding your health and personality, looking into the fact that on 1st of April, when we are having the new moon, that is the Amavasya, the moon is also very weak. So moon rules your 11th house of gain. So it can also happen that due to our any kind of lack of any kind of decision making or poor management, we can feel that certain gains which was coming to our life has got postponed or got delayed. So this kind of feeling may come within you due to this transit of Sun, Mercury, and Moon in the seventh house as of now. But on 8th of April and 14th of April, when Mercury and Sun respectively goes into the sign of Aries in the um, 8th house, so that time you can feel that yes, um, the things are a bit better than before, because Sun will be exalted and Mercury will be out of its debilitation, but Sun will be exalted in the 8th house. So at times it can give you this way to learn spiritual ideas or occult science or religious or spiritual knowledge, or anything where you can require more focus and research oriented focus to learn new things. Okay, but on the other hand, sun is your 12th lord getting exalted in the 8th house and in conjunction with Mercury. Here you need to be very careful regarding any kind of knowledge which you are working on, or any kind of knowledge which you are preaching about. So here there can be some kind of ego classes, right? Out of your ego, you feel that I know the things as it is, but it can be something else. Okay, and why I'm saying it, because on 12th of April Rahu will come in your 8th house. So it can create some kind of illusion that you may feel that the things which you know is the ultimate, is the best and the something supreme, but the truth can be something else. So you have to be very careful regarding which things you are learning, which things you are preaching about, and which things you are working upon. These are the very important thing. And transit of Rahu Sun in the 8th house can give you a very a spiritual bent of mind to learn new things regarding occult, new things regarding spirituality, spiritual way of living, spiritual growth can be seen during this particular time. But yes, at the same time, you have to be very careful regarding your health also, due to this transit of Rahu in the 8th house. Be very careful regarding that. When we are talking about Saturn and Mars as of now, then Saturn and Mars both are transiting through your fifth house, where Saturn is the fifth lord itself, and Mars is your eighth and third lord getting exalted in the fifth house. So definitely, it is giving a new path to produce your creative talents into creative self-expression in front of your whole world, and get name and fame through it, get gains through it. That is what this Saturn and Mars is teaching you through this transit in the fifth house. But on 7th of April, Mars will come in your 6th house, getting conjunct with Jupiter and Venus. I will say it's a good transit, because Mars, a malefic planet, transiting through the 6th house in presence of two benefic planets, Jupiter and Venus, will give very good results. Yes, there can be some kind of difference of opinion with your co workers or with your authorities at your workplace, but still I will say it is a good transit, because you can have the proper energy, wisdom, and creativity to work for the things which you want to do in your project. So ultimately, it will give you success. So this transit of Mars through the sixth house, getting conjunct with Jupiter and Venus, will be a good one. Now, on 13th of April, Jupiter comes out of Aquarius and gets into the sign of Pisces. That is a very good transit for you, because it will be good for your married life. It will be good for your relationships. Health of your spouse will improve during this particular transit. Jupiter is also your fourth lord, so it will be good for your domestic happiness also. It will be good for your health and personality. So it's a very good transit, I will say, overall. When we talk about the transit of Ketu goes into the sign of Libra in your second house on 12th of April. Now, this will make you a bit detached from your decision making on wealth and finance, or from your family members. So this is the time when you have to be very careful regarding your speech. This can make you very blunt with your speech, so be very careful regarding what you say. Your speech needs to be very well judged and said, because during that time, the significator of because uh, the lord of your second house, more specifically the dispositor of your second house, that is Ketu, that will be Venus, the lord of Libra, will be transiting in the sixth house. So you have to be very careful regarding how you are using your money, you are using your finance, or what you are saying, or how you are dealing with the other people, because it may happen that due to your some mistake you can lead to some kind of problems, because sixth house is the house of problems basically. So you have to be very careful regarding this transit of Ketu in the second house in this way, because Venus will be transiting in the sixth house. So what you say, how you are spend your wealth, that can lead to some kind of problems. Okay, so be very careful regarding that. So that's it for the Virgo ascendant people. And yes, Mars, when we are talked about Mars, so let us talk about Saturn also. Saturn is at present transiting in your fifth house, but when Saturn comes to your sixth house, Saturn is at present in your fifth house of creativity, but on 29th of April it comes to your sixth house. So that time it will give you more energy to do the hard work, continuous hard work. New responsibilities will come, you will feel that workload is increasing, but yes, it will also give you proper success, name, fame and reputation at your work life also. That's a good transit, I will say. So that's it for the Virgo ascendant people. For the Libra ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Venus will be transiting in the fifth house along with Jupiter. It will be good for your creativity, it will be good for your health, your personality, and definitely good for your creative self expression. Means you can use your creative talent and your expressive ideas to get more name, fame, and gains in your life. This is a very welcome transit, I will say, of this Venus and Jupiter happening in your fifth house. When we talk about Mars and Saturn, then at present Mars and Saturn is transiting through the fourth house, so definitely it is giving you a very a proper strength at your domestic place. And this Mars and Saturn is also impacting your 10th house, so giving you more energy at your work, more energy to follow through the projects at your work and get success out of it. But there are few transits which are going to happen, like on 7th of April Mars comes to your fifth house, and on 13th of April Jupiter comes to your sixth house. So that time it will be all about between Mars and Venus in the fifth house. So there can be chance of new romantic relationship in your life. There is a possibility, but if you are already in a relationship, there can also be some kind of clashes between you and your partner, because Mars and Venus are the lord of your seventh and first house respectively in your chart, that is the Libra ascendant people. So there can be some kind of irritation between the expression of ideas and thoughts between you and your partner. Why so? Because Aquarius is a fixed sign, but it's a airy sign, and Mars is the fiery planet. So the air and fire, when it mixes, it causes big flames. So definitely it can be in seen in that way. So you have to be very careful regarding how you are interacting between you and your partner. Why it becomes more important? Because on 12th of April, when Jupiter comes out of Aquarius, it goes into the sign of Pisces, which is the sixth house. So your sixth house becomes more important. So relationships has to be taken care of during this particular time, very essential. You have to be very careful regarding that. And on 13th of April, Ketu comes in your first house in the sign of Libra. So you will become more your idea of self confidence or self independence will be changed. You will feel that you can work upon something else and get more intuitive ideas regarding your personality or health. You will be more researchful rather than more confident in front of the world. So you will be working it inside rather than outside, and that is the time when you have to be focused more towards your relationships, because Rahu will also be transiting through your seventh house during that time. On 12th of April, Rahu comes to the sign of Aries in your seventh house. So there can be some kind of elusive energy between you and your partner in your relationship. So you have to be working out it with proper judgment and wisdom, rather than going into any kind of unnecessary arguments or disputes. Okay, let's talk about the transit of Jupiter in the sixth house when it comes to the sign of Pisces. This transit of Jupiter will be a good one, because it will not only give you the proper wisdom to do the hard work, but also it will enable you to work on your daily routines, daily schedules, your health, any kind of health issues which you thought you will be working upon but you couldn't do it before, but now you will get the proper wisdom and time to work on it. Jupiter will be directly impacting your wealth, your career and profession from the sixth house, and it will be good for you. You can get new opportunities at your career. You will be having new opportunity to make more investments, new kind of investments, or any kind of decision regarding your finance and wealth can be taken during this time due to the aspect of Jupiter on the 10,000 second house respectively. Yes, you have to be very careful regarding any kind of expenditures. Regarding any kind of expenditures, you need to be very careful. Means unnecessary expenditures has to be curbed down during this particular transit. And when we talk about Sun, Moon, and Mercury in the sixth house at this moment, because on 1st of April there is the new moon, that is the Amavasya Tithi, and moon is your 10th lord of career and profession. So any matter regarding to your career and profession must be going on in your thought process, and there can be some kind of unclear ideas or which you are thinking but you are not getting the answer of about it. That kind of things can be going on through your mind, looking into the fact that your ninth lord Mercury is also debilitated during this particular transit in the sign of Pisces in the sixth house. So I will say, um, work on any kind of matter regarding your um, career profession in a proper manner with proper uh, communicative skills, because you can take some time rather than doing some hurry. You can work on it and bring proper results for it, because that will be more beneficial for you. And on 8th and 14th of April respectively, Mercury and Sun comes to your 7th house away from your 6th house. That is, Mercury comes out of debilitation and Sun comes to the sign of exaltation in the 7th house. So there, that time the communicative skills will be improved, but yes, there can be some kind of ego clashes between you and your partner because of this presence of Sun and Mercury in the 7th house. So I will say, don't be so much critical between you and your partner. Don't be so much uh, judgmental. Rather than, you can take up responsibilities to improve your relationship between you and your partner. You can come up and talk between any kind of matter, so that that can improve your thought process in the relationship. You can take it in this way, and do not hesitate to take any kind of cooperation from your partner, or give cooperation to your partner. Okay, so that is the most important thing during this particular transit. So that's it for the Libra ascendant people. And another thing is that on 29th of April Saturn comes to your fifth house, so it will give you more discipline and commitment towards learning, towards your intelligence. And yes, it can work in this way that you may feel that I need to be more focused in my creative skills, in my learning skills, which can take you more time to be get the art of perfection. Okay, it can take you some time, and later on it will give you very much good results. So that's it for the Libra ascendant people. For the Scorpio ascendant people, at present the Lagna Lord Mars is exalted in the third house along with the third Lord Saturn. It's a welcome transit, I will say, because it is not only giving you the power, energy to do any kind of work in any kind of projects you are working on and get success through it, but also giving you the satisfaction of your work. You will be able to do work on time, you will be punctual, you will be disciplined, and you will get results accordingly. You can have the name, fame and reputation out of it. It's a very good transit, I will say. But on 7th of April Mars comes out of the exalted sign, and it goes into the sign of Aquarius and get conjunct with Jupiter and Venus. Now here, Jupiter and Venus are two natural benefic planets. They are very good benefic planets, and when Mars comes to the sign of Aquarius, it will be in the influence of Jupiter and Venus. So definitely it will, then Jupiter and Venus will try to control the energy of Mars in the fourth house, because Aquarius is a fixed sign, but it's an Aries sign, and Mars is that fiery energy. So definitely it will try to bring some kind of heated energy in your domestic happiness, in your domestic peace of mind. So at times during this transit of Mars in the fourth house in the sign of Aquarius, there can be some kind of mental agony. There can be some kind of unnecessary mental anxiety going through in your mind, some kind of disputes, some kind of heated arguments at your home. This particular transit of Mars in the fourth house has to be taken down very carefully, because Venus is your seventh lord, so the arguments or clashes can be directly with your partner, with your spouse. So it is very essential during this time, when how you are dealing with the matters of marriage or relationship, or even business partnership during this particular time. Very essential, I will say. Now, Venus transiting through the fourth house will be good one, because it will try to calm down the energy of Mars, and it will bring some good results. But after all, it is the conjunction of Mars and Venus. So try to avoid the unnecessary arguments and clashes, rather than try to give respect to the opinion of your partner and come to a common point and try to work upon it. Jupiter is at present transiting through the fourth house, but very soon Jupiter comes to your fifth house of creativity, intelligence, children, progeny. So it will be very good for learning new things, acquiring new set of intelligence for your children, for your progeny, and for your creative self-expression also. Jupiter will directly look into your 11th house of gains, so it can also open the doors of multiple gains at the same time. So it's a welcome transit for you, very good transit for you. When we talk about the transit of Sun, Moon, and Mercury, they all are transiting at present in the fifth house. Now, on 1st of April, we have the um new moon, and the that is the Amavasya Tithi, and moon is your ninth lord. So initially, you may feel that on the onset of the month of April, you may feel that my luck or fortune is not supporting me. Initially, you may feel like that, or you may feel a gloomy situation regarding any kind of work you do. Okay, because Sun is your 10th lord, and Mercury is your basically 8th and 11th lord. So any kind of gains which you are expecting to have in your life, that may get delayed, or that may get a bit unclear during this particular transit of Sun, Moon, and Mercury in the fifth house. But on 8th of April and 14th of April, Sun and Mercury, basically Mercury and Sun respectively, comes out of the sign of Pisces and get into the sign of Aries. Mercury comes out of debilitation, and Sun gets exalted in the sign of Aries in the sixth house. So that's a good transit, I will say, because that will not only give you the proper intelligence, logical and analytical intelligence to work on any kind of project you're working, but also giving you the proper vitality and energy to work through it and get success through it. This transit of Sun and Mercury will not only be good for your work sector, but also good for your health also. Although Mercury is your eighth lord coming to the sixth house, so you have to be very careful regarding health habits, that is the daily routines and schedules. But looking into the fact that Sun will be exalted, so it will give you the proper energy to work upon it. Now, it is during that time when Rahu on 12th of April comes to the sign of Aries in your sixth house. So it is about Sun, Rahu, and Mercury in your sixth house. So I will say that you have to be very um, cautious regarding any kind of matter regarding your how you are putting your hard work. Definitely it will give you enough energy to work through your hard work and get success through it. But since Rahu is also transiting through the sixth house, so be careful regarding any kind of actions which you are taking, which can lead to some kind of um, hurry, or that can lead to injuries or accidents. Be careful regarding that. Otherwise, I will say this transit of Sun, Rahu, and Mercury through the sixth house will be a good one, because it will give you a ample amount of time to do the hard work and get the success out of it. Overall success, name, fame, and success. I will say it's a good transit overall. I will say when we talk about Ketu will be transiting in your 12th house in the sign of um, Libra, and definitely it will be good for your spiritual knowledge. Means anything related to spirituality, it will be good for you. And most importantly, the significator of Rahu and Ketu, when you talk about, then Mars will be transiting in the fourth house, which is the dispositor of Rahu, when Rahu comes to the sign of Aries, and Mars is your sixth lord also. So, which also says that you have to be very careful regarding your domestic and your marital happiness. You have to work upon it. And when we talk about the dispositor of Ketu, that is Venus, Venus is also the 12th lord coming into your fourth house, getting conjunct with the Lagna lord and the sixth lord. So, definitely, these two transits of Rahu and Ketu and their dispositors are indicating the fact that you have to be very careful regarding your married life, your domestic happiness. Very careful regarding this particular transit when it is happening. Saturn will also come on 29th of April in your fourth house. So it is asking for more discipline regarding and more commitment regarding your home, your homeland, the place where you live in, for the domestic happiness and domestic peace. So it may happen that during this particular transit, you may feel that yes, these are the things which I need to renovate upon, or these are the things which I can work upon it at my home, or what are the ideas which you can follow regarding discipline or regarding daily routine regarding at your home, which can bring peace of mind or remove your mental anxiety. Okay, this kind of things can happen when Saturn comes to your fourth house. You have to work upon it, or any matter which you didn't think of in the past suddenly may come in front of you, and it may require more attention due to this transit of Saturn in your home, or home at your place where you live in. So that's it for the Scorpio ascendant people. For the Sagittarius ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Jupiter is at present transiting in the third house, getting conjunct with Venus, which is actually a good transit, I will say, because it will be good for your communicative skills, your bonding with your any kind of people of immediate contact, neighborhood, your siblings, your friends. Okay, it is good for you, good for your efforts and actions. But on 13th of April, Jupiter comes to your fourth house in the sign of Pisces, which is a good transit, I will say, because it will be bringing up uh, domestic happiness, peace of mind at your place, and it will be also good for your career and profession, because Jupiter will be directly looking into your 10th house. This Jupiter will also bring a balance between your materialistic life and spiritual life, because Jupiter will activate the moksha houses, that is the fourth house, eighth house, and 12th house. So if you, even if you want to go for spiritual way of living, that is also you can do during this particular transit of Jupiter. As of now, Sun, Mercury, and Moon is transiting through the fourth house. Now, Mercury is debilitated over here, and Moon is very weak, because on 1st of April we have the new moon, that is the Amavasya Tithi, and Moon is your 8th lord getting debilitated in the 4th house. So definitely you have to be very careful regarding your health. This is the first thing. We have to be very careful for the initial few days of the month of April. Secondly, any matter regarding to your home or homely matter, or how you are dealing with your colleagues or co-workers at your workplace, has also need to be taken care of, because Mercury is debilitated and Moon is also very weak, and they all are looking into the sign of Virgo, which is your 10th house. So very careful regarding how you are dealing with your uh, work or work arena or people related to your career and profession. On 8th of April and 14th of April, Mercury and Sun respectively comes to the sign of Aries. Mercury comes out of debilitation and Sun gets exalted in the sign of Aries in your 5th house. So I will say that is a good time when you can learn new things, you can work on your skill sets, you can increase your intelligence, and definitely it will be good for your creative talent, your creativity, your name, fame, reputation, and it is also going to give you gains in your life. Only one thing you need to be very careful regarding that: in this process have a check on your ego. Don't become a bit egoistic, and while you are dealing with other people or when you are conveying your knowledge, okay, you need to be very careful regarding that. When we talk about Saturn and Mars, then at present Saturn and Mars are transiting through the second house. Although Saturn is the second lord and Mars is exalted, Mars is the fifth lord, so definitely it is giving you more new investment opportunities and ideas to work on your finance. But presence of two malefic planets in the second house can also disturb your food eating habits. It can also disturb your way of speech and speaking in front of the world. Okay. On 7th of April, Mars comes out of your second house and goes into the sign of Aquarius in the third house. I will say that is a very good time, very good transit. When Mars comes to your third house, it will be giving you proper energy to work on your efforts and actions in a proper path. Whatever work you are doing, whatever things you are working upon, that needs a proper energy, proper efforts. That Mars will give you that energy and efforts, the zeal to work on it. It will be getting conjunct with Venus, so that means you will be working on your efforts and your creativity. So anything related to Mars and Venus, any that can be music, dance, creativity, anything, you can get the energy and creative talent working all together. So it is a good transit, I will say, for the Mars and Venus, and getting conjunct with Jupiter also in the third house. Now when Jupiter comes out of the sign of Aquarius, it will be all about Mars and Venus. So there can be some kind of clashes between you and any kind of people in your immediate contact because of this conjunction of Mars and Venus in the third house. So while you are speaking with someone, while you are interacting with someone, with your communication skills, be very careful that you are not imposing your thoughts on them. Okay, that is the first thing during this transit, I will say. And when we talk about the transit of Rahu and Ketu, so on 12th of April, Rahu comes to your fifth house, Ketu goes to your 11th house. So when Rahu comes to your fifth house, it will give you a obsessive nature to work on your more interest, or take it as an obsessive nature to work more on your creative talents or creative self-expression. I will say in doing this thing, the transit of Mars will also help you, because Mars will be in the third house, which is the dispositor of Rahu when Rahu comes to the sign of Aries. So your creative self-expression will get converted into your hobby, and you can work on it through your energy, through your proper efforts and actions. When we talk about the transit of Ketu, Ketu will be transiting through the 11th house of gains. So at times you may feel a bit detached from your gains, or any kind of network circle or something like that, or any kind of your friend circle. You may feel a bit detached out of it, but more you involve in your hard work, more you involve in your efforts, more gains you will get, because dispositor of Ketu will be Venus, and Venus will be transiting in the third house along with the fifth lord Mars. So you can take it in this way, that it is also creating a dhan yoga. Through your efforts, through your communication skills, you can have gains in your life, and yet you will be detached out of it because of the transit of Ketu in the 11th house. Now when we talk about the Saturn comes to your third house on 29th of April. So again it will make you more hardworking, your efforts will be recognized, your work will be more organized, because Saturn will be transiting through the third house. So that transit also is also a good one for you. So that's it for the Sagittarius ascendant people. The Capricorn ascendant people, Sun, Mercury, and Moon is at present transiting in the third house, and Mercury is debilitated over here, and Mercury is your sixth and ninth lord. So basically, whatever hard work you are doing and wherever you are putting your efforts, so you may at present feel that I'm not getting the optimum result out of it, or you may also may feel have a feeling like my luck and fortune is not supporting me now. This particular thought process may have more impact on you because of the weak moon which is happening to be on 1st of April, because the new moon is happening, the Amavasya Tithi. So the strength of the moon will be very weak over that particular time, and moon is your seventh lord. So you may also feel the communication between you and your partner is getting suffered during this particular transit of moon and this month. So initially in this month you have to look forward regarding setting up a good relationship between you and your partner. This is very essential and very important, because for the initial days up till now, Saturn and Mars is conjunct in the first house, and Saturn is the first lord, Mars is your fourth and 11th lord getting conjunct in the first house, and Mars is getting exalted. So definitely it is making a very good dhan yoga and raj yoga at the same time, and giving you a strong personality, giving you the generation of wealth, incoming of wealth, and authoritative position at your workplace. Definitely it is giving you the good results in this way. But the presence of a strong malefics in the form of Saturn and Mars in the 1-7 axis is also creating some kind of rifts between you and your partner. So this is also getting clarified by the position of Moon and Mercury in the third house, where Moon is your seventh lord. So you have to be very careful regarding these particular facts. On 8th and 14th of April respectively, Mercury and Sun will be coming out of the sign of Pisces, and Mercury will come out of debilitation and get into the sign of Aries, and Sun will come out of Pisces and get exalted in the sign of Aries. On 12th of April, Rahu will also join the party, and Rahu will retrograde back into the sign of Aries in the retrograde motion. So it will be all about Rahu, Mercury, and Sun in the fourth house of happiness. So this is the time when you can work upon your peace of mind. You can work upon your any kind of renovations which you wanted to make at your workplace, or even if you are thinking that I can be purchasing some landed properties or something like that, or any kind of contracts or business dealings regarding that. So this is a very good time when you can work upon, because Rahu is the obsession, and you may feel that yes, this is the time when you can get new opportunities to work on those things. Yes, definitely you can work upon those things. And most essentially, Mars is the dispositor of Rahu, and Mars during that time Mars will be in the second house, along with Venus, because when Mars comes to the sign of Aquarius on 7th of April, it will be with Jupiter and Venus. But eventually on 13th of April, Jupiter comes out of the sign of Aquarius, and Jupiter will be in the sign of Pisces. But when Mars and Venus get conjuncts in the second house, it will be the conjunction of your fifth lord, 10th lord, fourth lord, and 11th lord. So basically it's a dhan yoga and raj yoga again forming in the second house. So obviously if Mars is well disposited, Rahu will also give you good results with the significance of the fourth house. But since Mars and Venus is getting conjunct in the second house, you have to be very careful regarding your speech and how you are speaking to someone else, specifically with the family members and any kind of matter related to family. expenditures and spendings has to be checked. Any kind of unwanted expenditures has to be stopped during this particular time when Mars and Venus is getting conjunct in the second house. Otherwise, by the disposition of this Mars and Venus, it will give you good results with respect to second house also. Means some kind of incoming of wealth can come, and you may get some kind of ideas regarding investment ideas, or new kind of investments that can happen. That type of investments or financial decisions can be taken, but unnecessary spending or expenditures has to be stopped, because initially you may feel that I need this, but when you get it, then you may feel that I could have checked myself. Okay, so these are the things that can happen. If we talk about Jupiter, then at present Jupiter is in the sign of Aquarius, but very soon on 13th of April Jupiter goes into the sign of Pisces, and it will be the third house, and it is the third lord itself. So it will be good for your communication skills, it will be good for your social communications, social interactions, expansion of your friends, your neighborhood, your people with whom you can with whom you have daily contact. This will be always be will also be good for your relationship between you and your spouse, because Jupiter will aspect directly into your seventh house, and also bring multiple gains in your life. Incoming of wealth gains, your network circles will be very good, will be filled with philosophical people. Okay, it will be good overall. This transit of Jupiter will be good overall, and some travels can also be seen. Some short travels, long travels can be seen. Jupiter will directly look into your ninth house, so your luck will also support you. You will also feel the support of your luck and fortune during this particular transit of Jupiter in the third house. When we talk about the transit of Ketu, then Ketu will be transiting in the 10th house on 12th of April 2022. It will come into the 10th house, and there you may feel that yes, the type of work you are doing, you will be doing your work with more perfection, or you will give some more time, or at time you may be a bit slow regarding your work, or a bit lazy regarding your work, but you will be doing your work with perfection. You will try to do your work with perfection. Now let us see where is the dispositor of Ketu is. During that time, the lord of the sign Libra is Venus. Venus will be in the second house. So you will your main focus will be that how to increase the generation of wealth, means through your work, career and profession, means whatever work you do. So you will think of doing the hard work in such a way that you can increase the wealth, and that can give you more mm, good times with your family, with your members near and dear to you. Okay, so these are the things which can be understood through the transit of Ketu. When we talk about the transit of Saturn, at present Saturn is transiting in your first house. So definitely it is asking you to be a bit slow, work step by step, break down the whole problem into small steps and work upon it. That is definitely it is also asking you. It is also asking you to become more responsible, but on 29th of April Saturn changes the sign. Saturn comes to your second house, and here it is making a dhan yoga. So that means that time Saturn will teach you to be more respectful towards your wealth, be more wise regarding how you are spending your wealth, or how you are respecting your family morals and values and tradition culture. Okay, it will teach you to how to interact with your family members in a more beautiful way, because when Saturn comes here, it will bring the responsibilities of family for you. You will feel that suddenly the family responsibilities are coming within on you, and that is the time when you have to learn how to deal with your family members, and how to deal with the various matters of finance and wealth. So that's it for the Capricorn ascendant people. The Aquarius ascendant people, the Lagna Lord Saturn is at present transiting in the 12th house along with Mars, and Mars is getting exalted over there. So definitely it is asking you to be more spiritual. It is giving you the energy to work for the spiritual way of the life, that is performing meditation, yoga, exercises, and everything. Okay, so you can take it in this way. On the other sense, I will also ask you to take care of your health because of this transit of two malefic planets in the 12th house. It can at times disturb your sleeping pattern also. So try to follow the proper health routine. Try to follow the proper food eating routines during this particular time, and any kind of required expenses or losses has to be stopped during this transit of Mars and Saturn in your 12th house. Now on 7th of April, Mars transits to your first house in the sign of Aquarius and get conjuncts with Jupiter and Venus. Mars getting conjunct with two benefic planets, Jupiter and Venus, is a good thing because now the energy will be getting the wisdom and creativity, the beautifulness of Venus and wisdom of Jupiter. So you can use the energy in a proper manner. But on 13th of April, Jupiter changes the sign. Jupiter comes to the sign of Pisces. So that time it will be all between Venus and Mars in the first house. Now Venus and Mars in the first house is actually will give you a very charismatic personality, a very attractive personality and looks. It will be improving your health also in that way. But since Mars is a very fiery planet, so at times some kind of mental anxiety can be there. So it will improve your confidence level, it will improve your means that strength to do any kind of work. But when you are dealing with your relationships, when you are dealing with your partner or your spouse, you need to be very careful that are you providing enough space and respect to the opinion of your partner, because Mars is the fiery energy and Aquarius is a fixed and airy sign. So here the fire gets the air element, and you can understand it can lead to some kind of arguments, heated arguments or classes. Okay, so you have to be very careful regarding how you are dealing with your partner or any kind of issues regarding marriage or relationship. This is the first thing which has to be taken care of. Otherwise, take it in this way: Mars and Venus, respectively, are your 10th and ninth lord getting conjunct in your first house. That can also lead to rise of fortune at your workplace. So that means this particular conjunction of Mars and Venus in your first house can give you good opportunities for your career and profession. New responsibilities can come in your life. You can get a position, an authoritative position where you can be the decision maker. Okay, this can also give you some good times to do some beneficial work for the society. Some charitable works can be done during this particular time. So in this way, it is a very good transit. I will say it's a very good Raj Yoga, can give you some authoritative position at your workplace, and your superiors and authorities will also recognize you for your work. So name, fame, and reputation will increase during this particular transit of Mars and Venus in your first house. Taken in this way, when we talk about the transit of Saturn, Saturn will transit to the sign of Aquarius on 29th of April. So that means that time when Saturn comes to Aquarius, it will bring new responsibilities in your life. It will ask you to become a bit more slow and take the responsibilities one by one, step by step, work on it, work on small projects, don't take long projects. Okay, these are the things which you need to be more dutiful, be more punctual and disciplined at your workplace. So these are the things which Saturn will teach you when it comes to the sign of Aquarius on 29th of April. If we talk about Jupiter, then Jupiter is at present transiting in your first house, but on 13th of April, Jupiter changes the sign. It comes to the sign of Pisces, its own sign in the second house. So that is a brilliant time because Jupiter is your 11th lord coming into the second house. It is making a dhan yoga, and it is also the second lord coming into the second house. It is also creating another dhan yoga. So incoming of wealth, generation of wealth, you can have proper investment ideas, financial management strategies during this particular time. You can have some any kind of wealth or finances which you expected to have in your life but you didn't get it. This is the time when you can get it, you can have it. Okay, this is the very good opportunity to have the wealth and use it in a proper manner and invest it for the long term to come and get more gains out of it. So even if you are thinking of investing your wealth, take the long term investments, because that will give you more better results. This will also be good for your career and profession, because Jupiter will also aspect the 10th house, and your hard work, it will be aspecting your 6th house also. When we talk about the second house at present, Sun, Moon, and Mercury is transiting through your second house. Mercury is debilitated and Moon is your sixth lord. And on 1st of April, when we have the new moon, Moon is actually weak on 1st of April, because we have the new moon and that is the Amavasya Tithi. So that means moon will be weak on that particular initial few days, and that is the reason it can lead to some kind of conflicts at your family space, because moon is the sixth lord coming into the second house of speech. So you have to be very careful regarding what you are saying, what you are speaking, how you are dealing with your finances for the initial few days, till moon comes to its original dignity and Mercury comes out of debilitations. Okay, so that is the first thing which you have to be very careful, that initial 1 week has to be very careful. There can be some kinds of conflicts between you and your family members. So be very careful regarding how you are interacting with them, or how you are dealing with the family matters, crucially. Okay, you have to be very, very careful regarding that. On 8th and 14th of April, respectively, Sun and Mercury and Sun will come out of the sign of Pisces and get into the sign of uh, Aries. Sun is coming into Aries on 14th and Mercury is coming on 8th. Mercury is coming out of debilitation and Sun is getting exalted. So basically, it is giving you proper intelligence and strength to perform your efforts, perform your actions. To add up to this spice, Rahu on 12th of April will be in the sign of Aries in the retrograde motion. So it will be Rahu, Mercury, and Sun in the third house. So it will give you not only the energy but also the obsession, the highest form of energy, I will say, and intelligence to work for any kind of efforts you are putting forward in your hobbies, creative talents, at your work, at any kind of project you want to take in. Yes, this can lead to some kind of um, communication gap, or I will say some kind of lack of proper communication, because of the presence of Rahu and Sun and Mercury in the third house with your immediate environment. So try to have control over your ego, try to have control over those things, because it is very important when you are talking with someone, you are communicating your thoughts with someone. You should be a bit more humble. Okay, these are the things which you need to be very careful, because Rahu and Sun getting conjunct with Mercury in the third house, this can lead to this kind of things. Okay, you have to be very careful regarding those, and how you are conveying your matter, and what you are what information you are getting and what you are conveying, very important, because Rahu is a very manipulative energy along with Mercury. So it may happen that you wanted to say something else but you said something else either. So be very careful regarding those things. When we talk about Ketu, then Ketu will be transiting in the ninth house. So at times you may feel very detached from your elders of the family, from your father. At times you may feel like that, or you may feel that initially you are not getting the benefits of the luck and fortune of your uh, regarding any work you are doing. At times you may feel like that, but this is also making you a very spiritual person. This transit of Ketu can make you get connected with the Almighty, with the super soul, in a spiritual way. If you are thinking that yes, I can follow the religious path of life, but it is making you a bit detached, then you can follow the spiritual way of life. Okay, because this transit of Ketu can make you feel very detached from the spiritual, from the religious customs and rituals. So it can make you very spiritually in either terms. Okay, so this is a very um, good spiritual transit of Ketu, I will say, looking into the fact that Venus will be transiting in the first house. So dispositor of Ketu will be well disposited in the first house. So in that way, Ketu will give good results, because Ketu and Rahu, they both give results depending upon the planets they are associated with and the planets they are dispositor of their dispositors. Correct. So Mars and Venus are the dispositors of Rahu and Venus, and they both will be conjunct in the first house. So definitely Rahu and Ketu will give you good results from the respect of Mars and Venus. Now, since Mars and Venus will be looking directly into your seventh house, so there can be some clashes, some arguments. Okay, so that kind of things can happen. So, nevertheless, you don't forget to follow the path of dharma and righteousness, because Rahu will be transiting in the third house of efforts. So, you have to put your efforts in correct path. Okay, these are the very essential things has to be followed. And regarding Ketu also, since it will be transiting in the ninth house, so try to follow the dharma. Yes, at times you may feel detached, but do the inside work, do the research work, and take the correct path and follow it. Okay, that's it for the Aquarius ascendant people. The Pisces ascendant people, Jupiter is at present in the sign of Aquarius, getting conjunct with Venus, which is a good thing, because Lagna Lord getting conjunct with Venus is actually making you very creative, very charitable, because it will be transiting in the 12th house. But since Lagna Lord transiting in the 12th house, I will say take care of your health. This is the first thing which has to be taken care of. Secondly, any kind of unexpected expenditures has to be stopped. Okay, this is because Jupiter also is the significator of the second house, transiting through the 12th house, so be very careful regarding the wealth also. Now, on 12th of April, when Jupiter, on 13th of April, when Jupiter comes to the first house in the sign of Pisces, it will be a very good transit of Jupiter, I will say, because it will not only improve your health, your personality, it will also bring good results with respect to your career and profession. It will be good for your relationship, for your marital life, for bonding in a relationship. Okay, it will be good for that also. Now, at present, Sun, Mercury, and Moon is transiting over your first house. So, it is creating some kind of conflicts in your life, in your personal life, or some kind of anxiety can be there. Anxiety issues can be there. Miscommunications between you and your partner can be there, because Mercury is debilitated. Mercury is your seventh lord and fourth lord. So, marital and domestic happiness, these both are the two things where you have to work upon. Now, when we talk about Moon, Moon is your fifth lord. So when we talk about the fifth house deals with our joy, our happiness, our creativity, and this Moon is in a weak position now. As of now, on the 1st of April, Moon will be means it is the new moon, it is the Amavasya Tithi. So that means you have to work more on your creativity, you have to work more on your personality, on what type of intelligence or knowledge you are taking to improve your skill sets. These are the things which you have to work upon in the initial days of this month. Apart from that, you have to also work upon your marital and domestic happiness. This is what this Sun, Moon, Mercury is teaching you in the first house in the transit. On 8th and 14th April, Mercury and Sun respectively will transit into the sign of Aries, your second house. Mercury will come out of debilitation and Sun will get exalted in the second house. So that time Sun and Mercury in the second house can give you a very strong moral character. It will give you a strong bonding to your family values and culture, tradition. So you can have a dominating figure at your home. So you will be able to take proper decisions at your home, at your home place. Okay, only one thing, since Sun and Mercury will be conjunct in the second house, so out of your ego, out of your that bold personality, don't say anything which you should not have said. So you have to have control over your speech, and any kind of unexpected expenditures has to be stopped, because you see, Sun is the royal planet and Mercury also significates finance. Okay, so means out of your ego, if you can feel that yes, I can purchase it, or I can do it, this kind of spendings or expenditures, later on you may feel yes, I shouldn't have done so. So you have to be very careful regarding that also. Now, when we talk about Sun and Mercury specifically, here you see this Sun and Mercury transiting through the second house will also be good for your investments. Also, it will be also good for your wealth management. Also, if done properly. Okay, so if you can use your wisdom, use your enlightenment ideas in proper investment opportunities, then that can be very good for this particular transit. Now, when we talk about Rahu, Rahu will be retrograding back into the second house. So it will be Rahu, Sun, and Mercury. So this Rahu will allow you to generate more wealth and have proper investments in some innovative way. Okay, you can use different kinds of ways of investing the wealth and finance. Again, I will say don't do any kind of unnecessary expenditures or spendings. Avoid it because of this conjunction of Rahu, Sun, and Mercury in the second house. And yes, speech has to be controlled because you say something and later on you may feel that I shouldn't have said so. Okay, these are the very important things has to be taken care of. Now, who is the dispositor of Rahu when Rahu comes to the sign of Aries? It is Mars. Mars will be in the sign of Aquarius that time. At present, Mars and Saturn is getting conjunct in the 11th house in the sign of Capricorn. Mars is exalted, so definitely it is giving you good results with respect to your gains, your profits, your incoming of wealth. Your projects will get succeeded. Whatever work you do, you will get name and recognition for that. But on 7th of April, Mars will come into the sign of Aquarius, getting conjunct with Jupiter and Venus. So that time, initially you may feel that I am getting the positive influences of Jupiter and Venus, and even though Mars is coming into Aquarius, the things are all okay. But on 13th of April, Jupiter will change the sign. Jupiter will come into the sign of Pisces, and it will be all about Mars and Venus. So that is the time when you have to have proper control over your instincts, because Mars is your ninth lord and Venus is your eighth lord. So whatever work you do, your work has to be properly aligned with righteousness. It should be correct in all means. Means at times you may feel that I can do this thing. Who cares? So this carefree nature can be there within you. You have to avoid this carefree nature when Mars and Venus gets conjunct in the 12th house in the sign of Aquarius. Because don't forget, Venus is the significator of the seventh house, and Mars, by its eighth aspect, will look into the seventh house. So, some kind of clashes between you and your partner can be there during that particular time. So, have control over your instincts, have control over your desires, and obviously expectations also. Because don't forget, Mars is the dispositor of Rahu, so expectations will be very high during that time. When we talk about Ketu on 12th of April, just like Rahu goes to Aries, Ketu will come to the sign of Libra. That is a very spiritual transit, I will say, because it can give you the spiritual lessons. You can go inside and work in a very research oriented way to learn the spiritual way of living, or the occult sciences or something like that, because that Ketu will give you the inside, the way to go inside and learn new things, introspection basically. Okay. And who is that significant dispositor of Ketu? Venus. Venus will be transiting in the 12th house. So again, it is creating a spiritual connection between Ketu, that is the 8th house, and the 12th house. So you have to take it in this way, that if you are associated with anything related to healing, if you are associated anything related to charitable works or spirituality, occult science, exercises, yoga, meditation, then these particular things can give you very good results. Or suppose if you wanted to focus in any kind of research related work, this Ketu transit will be good for you because it is transiting through the 8th house. So it is just like going inside deep down and getting the hidden gems out of it. This Ketu will help you out in this particular way. Okay, now that's it for the Pisces ascendant people. So you have seen that how this particular transit of all the planets are going to impact us in the month of April and for the coming days to come. And if you have like this video, then press the like button, share it to your near and dear ones, because it's a very important one, so that they can also come to know about these significant transits which are going to happen in this month of April. And anytime if you want to get a consultation from me, then check the links in the description section. And as usual, if you are new to this channel, tap onto the subscribe button, click onto the notification bell icon, so that every time I make a new video you get notified instantly. And your comments are always welcome to me. Write down below in the comment box your queries and your opinions regarding this video. So till then, when I come back, I'm signing off for today, thanking you. Bye bye.